Alright, and the One Piece grind continues, so I thought I'd just talk about the arcs that I've went through, and maybe just chat a bit about the characters and how they've changed, and yeah, maybe add some predictions, but let's jump into this dang old video, let's go! Alright, so let's talk about the crack of One Piece, which is these 100 episodes of 400 through 500. Like, I'm glad where I stopped, because holy crap, what happens after Kuma boops kids away is just freaking wild. We'll just jump into it, quickly explain what's happening. So first, of course, we got Kuma booping kids away on 405, and then we find out Luffy's on a woman island with the baddie freaking Boa Hancock. And then we also figure out about this fighting style known as Haki. Luffy somehow has Conqueror Haki. Then he somehow gets on the good side of Boa Hancock, and she gets struck by the love sickness. And Luffy figures out that Ace is having a planned execution, so your boy's gotta save his brother, So then that leads to the whole freaking wild arc of Impel Down. Bo being infected with the love sickness takes Luffy to Impel Down. And on this journey of Impel Down, you also figure out what the other Straw Hats are doing, where they ended up, what situations they are in. And I have to say, Sanji probably had it the worst. He somehow ended up on some kind of Fishman Island where a bunch of guys are dressing up like girls. The side character that I definitely liked and found really funny was Heraclesson. It's a guy that Usopp meets, and he calls him Usoppin. The way he talks is so goofy. But the freaking editing team, I like how they cut him off every time. Like, they always cut away when he's just trying to be super dramatic. It's so goofy. But yeah, after being shown where all the other Straw Hats are at and what they're kind of dealing with, then we finally get to Impel Down. And I don't know which one I like better, if I like Impel Down or if I like the whole Battle of the Best better. Like, they're both so good, but like the fact that they're back to back just doesn't help. Like, I like both of them a lot. Like, I really like all the characters that we see in Impel Down, and like the whole struggles of getting all the way down to like the 6th level, trying to get at Ace. Everything that happens leading to that is freaking wild. Like meeting Bon Clay again, like when I first met this character, I was like, yeah, this character is so goofy. And then you find out he's Mr. 2. The fact that he switched sides when, Sanji beat the crap out of him. And like he actually like sacrificed himself so that Strats could get away. Like, I like that guy after that moment. But yeah, it was cool seeing him again and the efforts he goes through to help out Luffy. Like, it makes me like the character even more. But like, there's so much that happens in Impel Down alone. Like, just all the enemies they fight, the baddie they see, Sweet Sadie, she's another baddie, And then Eva, one of the big revolutionary army people that help out the dragon, Luffy's dad. I don't know what my thoughts on Eva. Like, for me, the character design of Eva is just so wacky. Like, it's so funny seeing like these freaking wild fight scenes and like these really serious moments. But then you just see like Eva in the background, and it just completely throws me off. So like, I don't know. Like, I'm like conflicted on her character design or his character design. I don't even know, because Eva's always changing. Like, her gender, he, she, they, them. I don't care, whatever it is. But yeah, Impel Down was crazy, and then you get to the Battle of the Best, the fight between the pirates, the Whitebeards, versus the Marines at Marineford. Like, this was freaking wild. I wanted to see how long it lasts. The war starts around 462. It ends with our boy, Shanks. He comes in, and he somehow just stops the war just by showing up. It starts from 462, and it ends around 489, because Shanks is like, yo, enough of this crap. You guys done what you needed to do. You killed Whitebeard, and you killed freaking Ace. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just so freaking conflicted. Like, I understand Ace, is like a stubborn guy, and if somebody's like challenging him or like they like challenge his ideals or say stuff, he has to like fight them, and they do kind of show that like later on. But like, come on, like, you could have just dropped it, just get away with Luffy. But it's, oh gosh, it's just, I don't know. I'm just, like, I'm conflicted. I knew he was gonna die. I didn't know how he was gonna die. I just, like, it just bothers me that he died, because he could have just left. But then he got freaking triggered by Akino, and it's just, I don't know. It made me sad, but it was just, oh my gosh, I'm conflicted, because I'm like, gosh, you should have just, But there were so many moments that happened in this, and like, there's some times where the animators actually freaking cooked. I really like the fights with Magellan, like the way they animated his freaking slime dragon things. That always looked cool. And then the way they animated Luffy, like jumping in there and like standing in front of the three admirals, like that visual, the way they animated it, and like the way he's just like standing up to these three goddamn admirals, they cooked on how that looked. Like it just looks so freaking epic. And then of course when Ace gets unshackled, they cooked there too. Like the way they animated it, you could just tell by the way it's animated when they're absolutely cooking. Like it's just they're in the kitchen and they're cooking. You know, they got make it look crazy. You know. But yeah, there was so many cool moments and like sad moments and just all around. Just these two arcs being back to back just made this whole 100 episodes like absolute crack. There's so many like highs, so many lows. Like whenever somebody would sacrifice himself or like do stuff. So like Von Clay, he freaking sacrifices himself again. But like it makes sense because how are they gonna open the gates? But it's just, oh my gosh, when they got the call, when he was calling them and like, oh gosh, damn it. And then Luffy basically just talking straight up at Whitebeard being like he's gonna be the Pirate King. Like I thought that was freaking cool. And then Whitebeard being like, yo, I respect that. Like the fact that he was like testing him and stuff. Oh my gosh. There's just so many cool moments in this whole thing, like Mihawk slicing a whole freaking ice wave, that was cool. Every time Luffy uses Kankaraki, Whitebeard dying standing up, like that's always cool. Like I don't know why it's cool, but like when animes are like, yo, this character's so cool, they die standing up. Whitebeard is like one of them, and I'm like, yo, that guy's freaking crazy. But yeah, no, I freaking love this 100 episodes. Definitely in the future, I'm pretty sure I would just come back and just watch this 100 again, because there's a lot that goes on, and it's a ride, you know, it's a freaking ride. And after the Battle of the Best, we did learn a little bit more about Luffy's past and Ace's past, and you know, another a friend that also made the brotherly promise of being pirates, their three-way Saki promise, Sabo. It was cool learning about their past, and it also gives you like a little bit more reasons on Ace's thought process and how he's kind of stubborn and always picks on fights, even though he shouldn't be. I understand, you know, they're trying to make me understand his like thought process and why he turned back to clap Akinu, but like, come on, I was still completely. But yeah, it was cool actually like learning about their past. After about learning their past, then we have everything that leads up to the time skip. Like I really liked how Luffy like went in there to like let his team know that he's alright. He basically went to go ring the bell 16 times I believe, and then he wrote on his side, instead of 3 days to meet up with each other, 2 years. Like that's a massive gap. 2 years to not like see each other. And like I like how everybody took the message to like, we got it, we're staying where we're at, we're gonna get stronger, and we'll clap cheeks in 2 years, you know. Let's quickly talk about each character's changes and what I think about their looks and whatnot. Of course, we got Luffy and how he was training with Rayleigh for the past 2 years. He was fighting all these great big monsters, learning hockey, and I really like his look with the big X across his chest. It's just a wickedly cool look. Then we got the Soul King Brooks. I didn't expect him to be like a rock star, but like, hey, you gotta do what you can for 2 years. Next we got Sanji and the hell he had to go through. 2 years of not having any female interactions, and also just fighting his way to like learn their cooking, and like to also just live, because if he lost, he would have had to become a girl. A girl man. He had to fight for 2 years, like that's wild. He definitely had it the worst. Next you got the baddie Nami. Like she's learning some weather stuff in that weather sky thingamajig. She's a freaking baddie now. Like, oh my gosh, was she freaking thick in the other ones? But now she's like thick, you know, like, oh my god damn. Next we got Usopp. Like this guy, he's freaking wild. It was so funny seeing how fat he was being stuck on that one island, the one with a bunch of food and stuff. But then like seeing how ripped he got, like, oh my gosh, I loved how much he changed, like his look, and like how he's able to like snipe things with his wacky seeds and stuff that have various powers. But like he's still freaking Usopp. Like he's still a freaking roller coaster, this guy. Oh my gosh. Then you got the other baddie of the squad, Robin. Like, gosh dang, why'd they gotta like put her in the craziest outfits, you know? Like I respect it, but like, oh my gosh, she is always like dripped out. Nami's always wearing the swimsuits, but like Robin, she's always wearing those get-ups, you know, those freaking outfits that are like, ooh-wee. And then they somehow made Chopper cuter. Like, I don't know how they did it, but like they did a good job with the choppers and dudes. Okay. Next you got freaking Zoro. Like, oh my gosh, this guy was cool already, but now they're like, you know what? How can we make him cooler? Give him a scar eye. It's classic anime, what makes a cool character? Scar eye, yeah. And then later, we'll find out maybe it's some kind of like Sharingan, He's gonna open the eye, and then boom. His eye wasn't broken, he just replaced it with a better eye. What? That'd be crazy if they did something like that. Then lastly, you got the Robo Cyborg shipwright boy, Frankie. Like, man, did this guy change a freaking lot. Like, I'm glad that he ended up on the Vegapunk Island, where, like, it was one of Vegapunk's labs. Because, like, this guy freaking cooked. Like, everything he built because of the resources around him. Like, I really like how Frankie turned out. Like, his whole outfit and, like, how wacky it is. Like, he has a hand in his hand. Like, it's just so dumb and stupid. I love Frankie. And just seeing him get like a massive upgrade was really cool. Alright, and then we'll quickly go over some highlights of these next couple arcs. I wasn't too hugely invested in these arcs, so I'll just quickly go over some highlights of Fishman Island, Punk Hazard, and Dressrosa. The main thing I liked in the Fishman Island was definitely, of course, the action. Like, Luffy every time he claps up the freaking Shark Boy, and like him using Red Hawk, like, it's a cool like homage and respect to his brother Ace. And then Elephant Gatling, like the fact that he's able to use a Gatling gun with his big old fists that are also armored hockey, like it just looks freaking cool. And then I also have to mention Zoro clapping up freaking Octopus Sword Boy, like that was cool. And seeing Frankie's new freaking robot and like how wild like it connects and like how it splits up and stuff, it's so cool. Other than the action, of course, I also liked learning a little bit more about the Sea Kings, and then learning that the Fishman Princess Shirahoshi, I like that you find out that she's an ancient weapon and her code name / alternate name is Poseidon. I want to know what these other ancient weapons are, Pluton and Uranus. Like it's funny how like the only one that isn't named after a planet is Shirahoshi. But I definitely want to learn about all these ancient weapons, and it's cool learning about this first one. Like, we were kind of described some back in Alvesta when Robin was looking for those weapons, those ancient weapons. But this is our first time actually like seeing one and knowing what it can do. So Shirahoshi is able to control the Sea Kings. So of course that's a freaking ancient weapon, because those things are freaking massive. So I really liked the action. I also liked learning about the ancient weapons, and then I also liked Luffy calling out the big four pirates of the New World, and how he basically challenged Big Mama because he wants to be the owner of the Fish Island. After that, though, we got Punk Hazard, and there wasn't too much that happened this whole arc that really caught my attention. I did like seeing like the smileys, and then learning more about devil fruits and stuff, and like how they can be created. Like, there was a devil fruit that was made because of the big smiley boy, the big stinky gas boy. So here's what my theory is: if there's like a new element or there's a new aspect of the world that is like happening, some fruit by it may change into a devil fruit. So since this new poisonous gas of this smiley was being created, this apple transformed into a new devil fruit that is based off that gas. So if there's a new element or a new like ability or some kind of thing that was like formed in the world, it changes a fruit nearby into a devil fruit. And that's like a theory that I'm kind of making up, and something that it kind of makes sense, because like there's a bunch of weird fruits. Like there's an elephant fruit, so like the sword ate an elephant fruit, so now the sword can turn into an elephant. So like, since there's an elephant, you know that there's gonna be an elephant fruit. And since the sword was created, I'm pretty sure there could be like a sword fruit. So like, there's some like rule where like if something is created or something has a purpose, like a fruit will change into that thing. And the reason I think that is this whole situation of this big smiley boy turning into this big new gas creature basically made this poisonous fruit. So now I think if somebody eats this fruit, they will gain this poisonous gas ability. Alright, and with that devil fruit theory out of the way, let's talk about some cool moments in this arc. A cool moment for Zoro was definitely when he fought with Monet, and like how he was able to like put fear in her, and he didn't even have to use like all of his swords, he was just using one. But like he was somehow able to scare crazily. And some other cool cold moments was Law slicing the whole frickin' facility and mountain in half. Like, the imagery on that one I think is one of the best, of just slicing the whole mountain in half. I really like that one. Then we also see Frankie's mech and like what it's able to do, like the cannons it's able to generate, the general cannon. So yeah, those are like the main things I liked. And then we got the Dressrosa arc, and this arc was definitely like kind of slow for me. Near the end, it definitely picked up. But yeah, for the first half, the main two things I liked was Fujitora and learning more about this cool Admiral dude, like his whole gravity ability and like how he's able to make asteroids fall and stuff. Like his abilities were cool to learn more about. And then I also liked this tournament that was going on, like seeing all the different fights that were happening, and like Luffy showing off his like hockey abilities and beating up that one bald guy. That whole bald guy fight was freaking cool, and like how he was able to give that guy's needle head back. I thought that was funny. And then surprisingly learning more about Bartolomeo, learning about the freaking shield guy. I didn't think I was gonna like him too much, but then you learned that he's a freaking Straw Hat fan. He's so wacky. I like his scenes. So yeah, where I started to really get invested for this whole Dressrosa arc, it would be episode 661. It's when Law is fighting Doflamingo, and then Law mentions about the people named with D, and like that somehow triggers freaking Doflamingo, and the boy just starts shooting at him. Like once that happened, I was hooked. Because after that, crazy stuff happens. Luffy's trying to get out of the tournament, but he also wants a flare fruit that Ace had. Shield guy was gonna be like, yeah, I'll get it for you, buddy. But then our boy, the guy that we thought was dead, I didn't think he was dead. I had the simple like, yeah, I know he's gonna come back. I don't know when, but he's gonna come back. And I didn't think it was gonna show up so soon, but he did. And I'm happy he did, because oh my gosh, was it so like, it made me so happy. But like, and then the fact that he takes his spot in the tournament, like, yeah. So after 661, I was pretty much hooked, because I wanted to see where all this would go from here. You know, like how does Luffy get back at Doflamingo? How does Sabo fight in the tournament as Luffy? So yeah, it was cool. It was cool seeing Sabo again. After we see Sabo and, you know, he splits ways, we also get to see the whole plan to get back at Doflamingo. Then we got Usopp's job of trying to make it so that one girl faints, or like they knock her out some way, so then the toys can become people again. I had to show Usopp gaining his army, because like he keeps saying like how he has like 8,000 men or a bunch of people behind him, but like he doesn't. But now he actually does. And he gained his army around episode 678. But then it was funny because legit 3 episodes, in the next 3 episodes, they turn on him because he has a 500 million berry bounty on him because of Doflamingo. So like, rip Captain Usopp, he lost his 8,000 men. So he gained them, but then he lost them right away. That was so funny. And then we got the best fight going on between Frankie and this hard-boiled dude, Senora Pink. Like, oh my gosh, it's so stupid, but it's so good. I don't know why it's so garbage, but it makes me laugh so much. It's so funny, like how they basically are trading blows. They stop that one big girl from fighting because they're like, this is a battle between men. Women shouldn't be included in the fight. Just the fact that they're trading blows, they're talking and being like, I felt a breeze. I didn't even feel anything. Huh. Their commentary is so goofy at the fight. The way it ends is so good too. Like they both do some like crazy combo on each other. Like the senior Pink, he's like, okay, I'm gonna do my big attack, and if you withstand it, I'll take your biggest attack. And Frankie's like, I bet. And then boom, he gets like massive suplexed from the sky, dropped on his back. And then Senior Pink's like, huh, so you weren't that good, huh? And then he starts walking away, but then Frankie's like, yo boy, I'm still up, I'm still alive. And then Frankie beats the crap out of him, and the dude has flashbacks of his life with his wife, his past wife. And like, it's such a crazy, silly fight, but it's so good. It's so funny. I definitely like it when the animators randomly like cook. Like you could just tell that they got some crazy time to like work on an episode. I believe it was like 699. It was either 699 or 698. When Luffy was fighting Doflamingo, like the way it was animated was crazy. You could tell they went ham on that episode. Just being down to this fight, like having all these different things happening at the same time was like kind of overwhelming. But like each time somebody was taken down, you know, you were gaining more and more tunnel vision on like a focus center point. Like Zoro's guy, the Stone Boy, was like a big challenge, and like that stood for a long time. Senior Pink was definitely a big challenge, and that lasted for a long time. As people were getting taken away, we're slowly focusing in on this big fight between Luffy and Doflamingo. Oh my gosh, was it great once it started cooking. Especially once Luffy was like, I gotta whip it out. I'm whipping out the fourth gear. I was like, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I was getting hooked because of the fights. Like, they were reaching their pinnacles, their peaks. They were reaching their climaxes and like the conclusions to them. But like when Luffy whipped out the fourth gear, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. And like, man, is the fourth gear wild. Like, he's able to like fly, and he's got freaking like ratchet clicking handguns. Like, it's freaking cool. It does make sense. I think it's like a combination of everything he's learned. He's got the speed, he's got the big ol' arms, and then he's also got the armor. So like, it's like everything combined, and like boom, fourth gear. Seeing that and like watching him cook with it's so cool. It made all the anticipation leading up to this big fight so worth it. With the end of the fight between Luffy and Doflamingo, it was definitely cool seeing like Luffy fight to the blind guy, and like the way he was like, yo, I like you, and like the blind guy being conflicted, the blind guy being like, I made myself blind because there's stuff I didn't want to see. But then the people like helping Luffy, they just wanted to help Luffy out. They were blocking the ships, basically standing there so the rocks wouldn't drop on them. And then the blind guy's like, yo, you're the first guy that I would actually wish that I had eyes to see. Like, I'm like, oh my god, that's a freaking bar. Like, you say how you don't want to see the true things in this world, but then Luffy's like a main reason you wish you could see. Like, oh my gosh, it's a bar, and it's so cool. And then where I finished off was 746, and we see the Dressrosa people making statues for these big boys. You know, we got Kiros, a gladiator boy. Then we got Lucy, and then of course we got the wacky Usopp. And like, I like how they took his wacky face, the face that knocked out Sugar, the freaking toy girl. But yeah, so before we jump into my prediction that I add on to my old predictions, I wanted to just go over my freaking dumb old character sheets that I've been working on. And for those who don't know, like, they're just randomly watching this video, I've been just taking screenshots of characters and moments of the episodes I've been watching, just so I can remember stuff that happens, and just so then I can see if characters ever come back, I have a place to like reference them. But you know, if somebody comes back and I didn't have a note of them, I have to like go back and like add them in. So it's kind of fun managing this, and it's just a little side project as I'm watching the show, since it is a big commitment. So I just wanted to actually preserve these things in my brain, and taking screenshots and like having memorable moments is always cool. So let's jump into this dangle thing. I'm gonna be pretty quick with this because I basically said what I needed to say, and I was using this as a reference for this video, so like it does make sense to kind of explain things again. So we'll just quickly go through here. If there's small notes I want to mention, then I will, but I'll just probably scroll through here. And the 100 episodes that happened for 400 to 500, they did show a bunch of like pirates, but like I didn't really add a lot of them because there was just so many that was added. I just added some that kind of stood out to me, like this ice witch and then this flower sword pirate. But like there was a bunch of pirates that they showed, and like I didn't want to mark all of them. Like, I did show some of the big baddies of the Whitebeards and Little Oars Jr. I didn't know that there was a Little Oars Jr., so I had to save that one, you know. But yeah, so here's just all these characters, and as referenced, the past of Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. It was cool like seeing those episodes, so I'm definitely glad that I saved these. I'm curious if this old guy will be coming into play at some point in the future. That'd be neat if he comes back. But yeah, and then there's just a bunch of these random moments as I've been kind of skipping through because, like I said, I've already mentioned a lot of these, like Bon Clay's sacrifice. That was big emotional. Robin freaking clapping all these kids' cheeks, like she just broke all these guys' necks. And yeah, the gates opening, I was curious like who opened the gate, but later on you figure out it was Blackbeard. Like he somehow mind controlled somebody to open it. Some Fire Visage lore, and yeah, just random moments like Luffy freaking challenging or like telling the Whitebeard that he's gonna be freaking Pirate King. I thought that was cool. But yeah, that, like I said, these were moments I mentioned. I really like this freaking shot right here. Oh my god, damn, that looks so goddamn cool. Like, I don't know why I like this so much. You just like, your boy holding a freaking log and just like staring down the freaking three big Admiral boys. I thought that was so cool. Luffy, every time he used the hockey, I had to take a screenshot, be like, "What the frick is this conquer hockey? Like, what is it?" This freaking beautiful animation of Ace and Luffy and dumb Mister Three guy. And then I really loved this imagery when Whitebeard was talking to Ace, and Ace was basically like saying farewell to his captain. Like, the imagery was so cool. The blue flames around them, and them just having their final chat. But then that fucking Ace dies after that. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so dumb, but it's, oh my gosh. And then to finish off the freaking war, Shanks shows up. Like, oh, I have to mention this. Like, Luffy losing his dangle hat, and then it just made me so sad. But then, boom, who picks it up? Our boy Shanks. But he doesn't even put it on. So I was like, oh, this is great. It's like he's keeping his promise, and he also mentions how he's like keeping his promise. He doesn't want to see Luffy until Luffy, is a great pirate, and Luffy's trying to keep that as well. So, yeah, damn, it was so cool. So yeah, here's my note. The war started around 462, and then at 489, because of Dangle Shanks showed up, and I just was like, what the frick are Shanks' abilities? And it's something I'm keeping in my brain, and I really want some answers to. So yeah, let's move on to the next 100. So this is time skip episodes, and I had to take a screenshot of each of the characters and their dangled new looks. Like Luffy, of course. Like, it was cool seeing like how everybody showed up in this first time skip episode, and then Zoro showed up next, and then Frankie was last. I had to take a freaking picture of Perona. I thought her new design was pretty cool looking, but yeah, I really enjoyed the time skip and like seeing like each of the characters how strong they become. Here's some notes that I took pictures of. So before time skip, I really liked seeing Luffy when he finally set sail. He was able to clap up that sea monster that did freaking eat Shanks's arm. So that was cool, like seeing him get revenge on that boy, their local sea monster. Ace and Whitebeard's graves. It was cool that they're right by each other, and then how this constantly gets referenced. It's such a cool imagery, and like, just, oh my gosh, I really like this imagery, and it's so sad too. Like, oh my gosh. And then I did have a question about Kuma, like earlier. I think it was like 4 or 5. Like, I was wondering what he was saying to Rayleigh, and like it gets revealed on this episode 507. It's basically he's a part of the Revolutionary Era, which you make that assumption because of the flashbacks. Like in Luffy's flashbacks, you could see the dragon, his dad, and right beside him is Kuma and Eva. So like, it's like he's a part of the Revolutionary Army. And then this is pre-time skip. It shows when Luffy was communicating with his squad, he was like, yo, we're not meeting in 3 days, we're meeting in 2 years, boys, so prepare, get cracked, we're meeting up in 2 years. I was like, that's hype, like, that's cool. But yeah, some other things, here's hockey. I wanted to learn more about, like, what hockey was and stuff, so it was cool, like, the callbacks to Skypiea. In Skypiea, the observation hockey was known as mantra, but it's actually just observation hockey, like just knowing like stuff is happening, predicting what moves that are coming. So it was cool seeing old stuff being referenced, because that's freaking, what is that, like 400 episodes ago, or like 380 some. So that's like, it's cool. I like it when they reference old stuff like that. But yeah, time skip, you see freaking changes, and then I loved seeing how cracked the kiddos were. Like, was it Sanji and Zoro? They still have their banter, but they were able to clap up these freaking the Kuma clones. Like, seeing them able to actually clap them up now. Like, they weren't able to beat them at all. They were barely able to beat that one that they fought at around 405. But then as soon as Kuma showed up, they were like, yeah, we're done. but like now they're able to clap like these guys really easily. So like, hey, our boys are stronger, you know. And then seeing Goldie Rogers having the straw hat, so your line is like Goldie Rogers has the straw hat, and then he gave it to Shanks, and then Shanks gave it to Luffy. So it's, you know, it's funny, like knowing the straw hat lore, and then we'll find out about a cooler pirate better before Goldie Rogers, and he had the straw hat. That'd be so funny. But I liked this bar that Jinbei spat. Let's see if I can read it. I gotta make it bigger. Okay, here it is. It says, "Slavery is okay, but freeing slaves is a crime." I remember when he said that, I'm like, damn, dude, you spit facts to this Marine. So it was just a neat bar, and I'm like, it's you know, it makes sense. Like, how's freeing slaves a crime, but like having slaves isn't a crime? Like that's something worth asking. And then Hody Jones killing the queen. Like I knew he killed the queen. Like there was that guy that he mind controlled, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that guy was like mind controlled or something, manipulated somehow. And guess what? He was. Cause who stopped that guy? It was Hody Jones that stopped that guy. So I was like, it's gotta be Hody Jones put that guy up to it, cause like he was right there, he was right there, and it turned out he was. So it was an easy prediction, but like yeah, damn, was it bad timing? Cause like legit people were like, yo, we're gonna believe in the humans, and then that stuff went down. Luffy started cooking here. We saw him use Red Hawk on this episode, and I think I mentioned that. But like, it's cool seeing him pay homage to his brother Ace, and basically adding this Red Hawk to like a lot of his moves. Like basically, his fists have fire now, and it's pretty cool. So I thought that was really cool. And then the Sea Kings responding to what's her face, Shirahoshi, and like you find out Shirahoshi is an ancient weapon, and her alternate name is Poseidon. I did mention this earlier, but it's cool. Like I wanted more details on like the ancient weapons, and actually seeing one is really cool. So I'm glad that they're mentioning them, and we actually see what an ancient weapon can do. So I'm definitely curious about these other two. And like, I remember there was one in Albesta, but like we didn't really see it, and like I don't know if it was in Albesta or if it like mentions where it is, and like the details are in Albesta. And there was that one cube that Luffy stumbled upon with, I think it was Chopper, I forget, but like they basically like fell down into a cave and there was a cube in there. So Robin didn't like read that one, so I'm curious like if they'll ever come back to that one or if that one will ever be mentioned in the future. But that's just a random detail, and you know, we definitely know if we know that Robin can read this stuff, so I'm curious if that one will point to where the weapon is. But I don't know. Next we figure out Akinu, the bad boy, the guy that everybody wants to get clapped, especially me, you know, because he clapped up Ace. We find out that he is the new fleet admiral, and he had a fight with Aokoji, the ice boy, and he won. And then later you figure out Punk Hazard is where they fought, so that's why half of it is ice and half of it's fire, and I thought that was so cool. I'm like, hey, that makes complete sense. Like, the damage those two can cause, and they basically make Punk Hazard like even worse. So I thought that was cool. And then before leaving, they made a promise to Shirahoshi, and I definitely like when they make promises and stuff, because then if as the show goes on, you're gonna be like, okay, now we got something that we want our boys to come back and do, you know. So we want her to come back. Then we want him to come back, so then they can go to Fishman Island again, because you know Luffy's gonna be owning that place. We already know he's gonna beat up Big Mama. He's gonna own that place. So we definitely want her to go back. Bring her to the forest. That's a promise. We definitely want her to go back to Laboon with our boy Brook, so you know they can keep that promise. And there's other promises I made along the way. Like I definitely want them to go back to see Vivi. I want them to go back to like these other places they visited, and like I you know, there's stuff I want to see happen again. But like, you know, of course it's probably just gonna be classic, like, oh, this happened to this person, this happened to this person. But there's some things that I actually want to see, like especially the meetup with Laboon and Brooke. Like that's like a big thing I want to see like actually happen. So there's other problems I want to see happen, and this is definitely one of them. So yeah, and then one final key detail that I mentioned for 500 to 600 was Law becoming one of the Sea Warlords. Alright, now let's jump into the next 100. Alright, and on episode 602, this is when that fruit transformed into a devil fruit, and that's how my whole theory was developed of like if some kind of element is created or some kind of thing in the world is created, then some fruit nearby or some fruit in the world will be created into a devil fruit based on that thing that was created. So since this new gas creature was created, I think that's what developed this fruit here, and it will produce that same gas that creature can create. So that is a theory, but I think it is a good theory because it's basically happening in front of our eyes, and now we know that people can actually make fruit, so that's definitely one of the ways people can make fruit. So this is when Zoro scares the crap out of Monette. Then there's just a bunch of these characters that were revealed. This is when freaking Law cuts up that whole freaking building in half. I just like the imagery of it. It looks freaking cool. The whole freaking building being, the whole freaking mountain being sliced up, and the whole like room just being sliced up. It just looks so cool. And then we got some of the characters. And I don't know why. I gotta just mention Rebecca's outfit, her like gladiator outfit, is freaking crazy. Like, oh my gosh, is it down bad? Like, it's amazing, but like you're like, yo, she's 16, and it's just like, this girl's 16. That's wild. Like, she's so well endowed. Holy crap. But that's classic anime. But yeah, then we got Soldier Boy that you eventually learn that is Kiros. So I just kind of put them together. Bartolomeo. I like that guy. At first I was like, yo, this is such a wacky character, but like, I'm glad that he's actually turning out to be like a lot more likable than I thought he would be. So yeah. Then we got other details. Don Chinjo. I'm glad that he was like big mad, but then like he likes Luffy because he helps him get his needle head back. But then he like loses his needle head because it gets bent at some point, and it's so funny. Like he gets his needle head back, but then he pretty much loses it. So yeah. Some details that I did already reference was when Law talks about the middle name D, and then freaking it triggers freaking Doflamingo, and then Boy just gets just big rage mode and starts clapping at Boy. I'm like, why you have to be mad? Why so mad? So there was at this point, so 662, Doflamingo whispers something to the freaking blind guy, and I was like, what does he say? And I don't even think they ever referenced this, so I was just curious about that. And then Sabo is revealed on 663, and I was so happy, and I'm glad the way they ended the episode. They showed the three-way sake promise, and I'm like, yo, that's freaking cool. And like, it's so sad, like figuring out that Sabo, the reason he never got back in touch with Luffy or Ace was because he freaking lost his memory. Like that's wild. Like it's a freaking classic trope. Like, oh, they lost their memory, so they couldn't find their way. But like the way he gains his memory back makes me so freaking sad. Like he gains it back when he sees his brother in the paper, and it's like, yeah, my brother's dead. So it's understandable why that dude broke down and like he legit passed out for 3 days. So like, oh my gosh. But yeah, there's a lot of wacky scenes. This was my little note that I mentioned already, where Usopp becomes a god, and he gets his army that he keeps like lying about, but he finally gets an army. But then legit 3 episodes later, he loses that army because they turn against him because he has a $500 million bounty on him. So it was a short-lived dream. But continuing on, the best fight going on. Frankie versus freaking hard boiled dude, also known as Senor Pink. Like I really like this fight. I don't know why I like this fight. It's from the start it's super wacky, and to the end it's super wacky. So I say 693 because I'm like, what is happening in this fight? Because this whole episode's so funny. Like with big girl and like them both fighting. Like I had to save this moment because there were some funny things that happened in this specific spot, but like this whole fight is funny. And then to finish this 100 episodes off, I had to save Usopp getting his freaking sniper sense and being able to snipe things from super far away. So it was such a cool moment. I love seeing like each character get stronger, and I'm glad to see Usopp gain some ability that like he has, and it's freaking sniper sense. That's cool. All right, and this is where I am currently. So I did stop at 746 right here. And, yeah, so there ain't much to really say for the last bit. I did really already say my piece. The big thing I do want to mention is freaking Gear 4. God damn. I didn't think it was gonna be that crazy. But, like, man, I love it so much. I already mentioned it, but it's like a combination of everything he's learned. It's a mixture of second gear and third gear, also combined with armor hockey. Like it's really cool, and the fact that he can fly is freaking wild. I also love this fight between Luffy and the blind dude. Like it's animated pretty well, and the way it ends is freaking it's so heartwarming. Like the freaking people helping him out because they're grateful to Luffy. But it seemed like they were mad at him, but they were just playing along, acting like they're mad at him. And you could tell they like him because, they freaking built statues of him and Usopp because they freaking saved their freaking country. So they're freaking cool. And it's cool. So yeah, that's everything that I really wanted to chat about for my dang old character sheet. And I can't wait to go through this once I'm actually caught up for, watching the whole series. But we'll just jump into the freaking predictions. Enough stalling. I've talked way too much about this. So let's go. Alright, so let's jump into these predictions. Let's first go over my old predictions, the ones that are still standing, and if my thoughts have changed at all of them, but we're still sticking with them. We're still sticking with our guns. So first of all, is this freaking form of Luffy? Like I'm still gonna say that it's gonna be somehow gained when he fights Enel again, but it's not looking too good because the Gear 4, it has the freaking like swoops around his back. So when I saw that, I'm like, well, this theory's out the window. And like I saw this swoop thing, and I'm like, yo, since he has this swoop thing, it matches Enel's like thing on his back. And that was like a big driver of like, oh, maybe he's gonna gain this ability when he fights Enel again, because Enel has this weird transformation as well. But like, nope, it's looking like that might not be the case. But hey, it's still there. I don't know when he's gonna get this. I don't know how he's gonna get it. But maybe it's when he fights Enel again. I don't know. We'll see. But that was that one prediction. And my next one was like the final episode, and how the final episode might be tied with 1,000 Sunny. So I basically think that the 1,000 Sunny will last 1,000 episodes. So either the ship will somehow be destroyed then, or the show will end at 321, and that's where that prediction is. So the final episode will be 1321. So yeah, do I think it's gonna be the episode? Probably not, but like it'd be funny if it was. It'd be a crazy like naming scheme. Like they're like 1,000 Sunny, so we're gonna make 1,000 episodes after they get to the 1,000 Sunny. So that was my thought process. It's probably not true. But yeah, now let's move on to my new prediction that, I decided to add to this. I don't really know what else to add for predictions, because I'm kind of just enjoying the ride. But like, I wanted to think of at least one new more prediction before I finally catch up. So let's go into my final prediction, and it's pretty simple. We all know that all these pirates, all these boys that were fighting with the Strats, the ones that like get captured and thrown into prison, they're gonna come back at some point. Or like these phases that were mentioned, they're gonna come back at some point. So basically, my new and final prediction for this freaking dumb series thing is going to be that there will be some kind of War of the Best Part 2. And do I know how this War of the Best is going to happen? No. Do I know when it's going to happen? No. But I know that at some point, the culmination of everybody that, the Strats have fought, or they have been introduced to, they will have to fight again in some kind of big war again, or they're somehow going to come back into the picture. They're going to have to fight people again. So I definitely think there's going to be another big war in the future. And who's going to be in it? I don't know. But how's it going to happen? I don't know. Maybe Blackbeard's going to free all these freaking pirates that the Strats fought again. And the Strats fought, and then they're going to have to fight them again. And I would love to see how much they've improved. I would love to see Luffy fight freaking Gecko Moria again, but with his fourth gear. And that's a detail I forgot to mention, was his fourth gear is basically when he was the Devil Pirate, or whatever it's called. His fourth gear is very reminiscent of his Nightmare Luffy form, and I that was something I forgot to mention. But it's basically that form, so he's definitely going to be able to clap up. If he fights Gecko Mori again, he's going to clap him up because he doesn't need this Nightmare Luffy form. He has his fourth gear, which is basically the same thing as Nightmare Luffy. But yeah, I definitely think there's going to be some big culmination, some big war that will happen again, of various faces coming back, whether it's the Strats fighting the Marines, or the Strats fighting Blackbeard, and some culmination of people they fought before. But there's definitely people I want to see them fight, and CP9. I already know that CP9 is coming back in the picture because I think they were teased on 346, or not 346, on 746. They were teased at the end of there. They showed that they're still at large. They're still on the tail of the Strats, so we know that they're gonna fight them again. And then CP0, we did see them in the Dressrosa arc, but we didn't really see what they can do. I definitely want to see what these 5 elders can do. They were mentioned ages ago, and they're constantly referenced. But I want to see what they're able to do, because I'm curious if they can fight, because this guy has a freaking sword. So, you're gonna assume they can fight. But yeah, there's definitely faces I want them to get back at. I want to see him fight Kizaru. I want to see him get his revenge on Akinu, Blackbeard, and I want to see if Aokoji's on their side. Aokiji, I don't know how to say his name, the freaking Ice Boy. I want to see if he's on their side, because I did watch the movie with Master Z, and I did see that he helped out the Strats, but does that mean he's going to keep helping them? I don't know. Maybe it was a one-time thing. I don't know. And, Enel's still at large. Crocodile is at large. Caesar Clown, I don't know how long they're going to keep him. They're going to just turn him in at some point. Magellan, I want to see him fight. I want to see Luffy fight Magellan again, because that was a cool fight between them two. But now that he's gained all these abilities, I just want to see how well he can handle himself again. So that's my last prediction. It's a pretty simple one, but it makes sense. There's a lot of people that they fought, but they just get thrown into prison, and we did see Crocodile and his crew come back. So there's some other people that they beat up, and we have yet to see them come back. So yeah, I think there is a possibility of a War of the Best 2, but when it will happen, I don't know. And if it will happen, I don't know. But yeah, that's it for my predictions. Alright, and let's jump into some lingering questions I have. Basically just some questions I want answered just for these last couple episodes, or just, future episodes beyond. Just some questions I would love answered. So let's jump into this. Let's go to the first one. And I kind of had this spoiled, what Vegapunk looks like, but I kind of want to know how he, acts and stuff. I've seen kind of what he looks like because of dumb thumbnails and whatnot. But I definitely want to know who Vegapunk is, what he's about, and stuff like that, so on and so forth. How does Luffy get his freaking 5th gear? I've seen this picture before, as I mentioned before, but I want to know how he gets it, and when he gets it, when is the vital fight that he whips it out, or that he actually learns it. So I want to see when he learns this form. So yep, that is one of the lingering questions. Alright, and then what is the purpose of the Noah? Like, they really stress about this in the Fishman Island, like, the importance of the Noah, and like the Noah needing the freaking Sea Kings to like pull it and whatever. So I'm just wondering when it'll come back, how it'll come back, and why they'll come back. Like, what is the purpose of the Noah? Alright, and then Shanks, what I want to see why this guy is strong and like what his abilities are. It's like they don't really tell you. It just kind of like, yeah, this guy's strong, so yeah, the people are scared of him. But I'm like, why? And like, how is he strong? Like, I've seen him take on Aki Inu, and like I've seen kind of what the other ones can do, but not really, you know. It's like this. He's one of the top emperors, one of the top 4 emperors, but we don't know why. We just know that they strong, but how strong? We don't know. And then of course, the big overarching question is, what the frick is the One Piece? Like, it's constantly in my brain. I'm like, what is it? Like, is it just gonna be some dumb like anticlimactic thing? Like, it's the journey along the way, or is it actually like a physical thing? Or is it just, you know, is it something that they're gonna find on this Raptel Island or whatever it's called, the final island, the one that made the Pirate King? Like, it's just, there's so many questions, you know, like, I'm just wondering what the frick the One Piece is, and I hope it will get answered in the future. But if it isn't, it's just crazy, you know, like, what the frick is the One Piece? One other question I forgot to mention is, like, what does the D stand for these people with D middle names, you know? Like, I don't know what it stands for, and it definitely has some big role in the whole universe, but what does it stand for? So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my questions. Of course, there's other questions, and I'm pretty sure I'll get more questions. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, and that's it for this dang old video. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm definitely enjoying the journey. I don't know if I will hit the goal of watching this before April 7th or whenever they're going to start up the episodes again, but I know I will be caught up within next month. So my goal is sometime next month I'll be caught up. I'm not going to rush through it and, you know, just skip all the episodes, because I'm enjoying, you know, watching them, and as you can tell, this freaking character sheet is something that I've been doing on the side. So even though, like, there's like arcs that are freaking slow, like for instance like the Fishman Village arc, or like Dressrosa, how it was like first in the slow half, or like they were slow in the first half, and like Punk Hazard, like, even though those stuff like aren't like super entertaining at some points, like there's definitely like snippets that like I'm definitely like glad that I watched it, like learning more about ancient weapons or getting ideas of how the devil fruits work in like Punk Hazard. Like, I love learning that stuff, so it's cool like taking my time and like actually looking at these things. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the journey, and I'm glad that I will be caught up next month. So my schedule will basically be freaking relieved once I finish these episodes. I can't wait to actually watch like the new episodes and, you know, suffer with everybody else, like, because there's some arcs or like there's some episodes where I'm like, man, I can't imagine watching like this one episode, and then you have to wait next week till you get the next episode, because like freaking binging is kind of nice. But yeah, I'm just rambling. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye now.